My name is Ron Clancy. I'm considered by some an expert or historian of Christmas music. Actually, my interest in Christmas music began when I was 6 years old, when I was in a Catholic orphanage in Philadelphia, and I heard the nuns of St. Joseph's sing carols during the midnight mass, and ever since then I pretty much loved Christmas music. Well, actually, one of my favorite stories about Christmas carols is it's a folk carol from North Carolina. It's called "I Wonder as I Wonder." I think, in my estimation, it is one of the great 20th century carols in America. And it was actually discovered by accident by John Jacob Niles, who used to travel through Kentucky and the Appalachian Hills looking for folk songs. And he was actually in this town called Murphy, North Carolina, and there was a revivalist family that was squatting in the town square. The elders of the town said, "We can't have this. You hanging clothes up on the fountain in the middle of the town square." They asked the family to leave, and the father asked, who was a reverend, asked the town elders if he could actually raise some money so he could leave town. And during his last revival meeting, his daughter sang this tune, and John Jacob Niles was in the audience. He heard this wonderful tune, and after this revivalist meeting, he asked this young girl if he would sing this song, and for each time she would sing the music, he wrote down in shorthand those notes, and he asked her to do it 8 times, and each time she did it, she sang, he gave her 25 cents. And 2 years later, he actually published "I Wonder as I Wonder." A Little Town of Bethlehem was actually composed by Reverend Phillips Brooks in 1868. In 1865, he was so distraught by the assassination of Abraham Lincoln that year he took a sabbatical, went to the Holy Land, and actually witnessed Christmas Eve services there. And he was so inspired by what he saw that he wrote this poem, O Little Town of Bethlehem, a couple of years later, and he asked the church organist, who was a real estate developer in Philadelphia, if he would actually write the music. The fellow procrastinated, and then in the middle of the night he was inspired to write the music, woke up, wrote the music, and on December 28th, 1868, the Sunday choir at Trinity Church in Philadelphia first sang "O Little Town of Bethlehem." Well, Silent Night is perhaps the most popular sacred carol out there. It was actually composed in 1816, 2 years prior to when it was first played on Christmas Eve in 1818 in a small church, Catholic church in Austria, Oberndorf, Austria. Supposedly, and this is not necessarily a true story, the organ had broken down, and as a result of that, the priest, as well as a fellow who wrote the music, had to improvise on the spot to write the music to this poem that was written 2 years earlier. That's not true. What happened was that the carol was actually written for voice and guitar, and it was actually played that way in 1818 on Christmas Eve. But some years later, some fellow who came in to fix the organ actually found the notes to this, or the music scores to this particular carol. And eventually it wended its way up to a Prussian king, and who loved the lyrics too and everything else. And after World War I, when American soldiers heard these German soldiers singing this carol on Christmas Eve, Silent Night became much more popular in the United States. I want to thank Guideposts for this opportunity of speaking to you about Christmas carols and the history behind them, as well as the history behind these composers. And I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.